All right, in our first half hour, we took a closer look at what Iowa lawmakers have been up to, and now let's hop over to the Illinois side. As we've been reporting on, Indiana lawmakers unanimously voted to create a public stadium authority with the power to acquire land and finance the construction of a new Bears NFL stadium in Indiana. And that caught Illinois lawmakers off guard. Here to break this down for us is Brenden Moore, State House reporter with the nonprofit newsroom Capital News, Illinois. All right, Brenden, Indiana commits $2 billion to this project. The same day, the Bears come out and say this is the most significant step forward to acquiring a new home for our team. And that catches Illinois lawmakers and Governor Pritzker off guard. I mean, what happened here?
Yeah, so Indiana legislators advancing this legislation was not a surprise. That was expected. They had a deadline to meet. What was surprising to Illinois lawmakers was the amount of, I guess, appreciation and praise for Indiana without even mentioning the efforts in Illinois, because Governor Pritzker and Illinois lawmakers thought they were actually making pretty good progress on a stadium bill to keep the Bears in Illinois to build a dome stadium in suburban Arlington Heights. And honestly, I think, folks are still feeling pretty good about it. And, whether it's in Indiana or in Illinois, this is not in the end zone yet. So I think you're going to see over the next few weeks, Illinois and Indiana are both going to be fine tuning their proposals to either keep the Bears or get the Bears.
And who knows, we could see an Iowa proposal tossed in there as well. But I'm thinking of Governor Pritzker giving this press conference shortly after all of this went down on Thursday, and he straight up said, I was shocked by this. We had just been talking to the team. They made no mention of this. Do we know, has the team and the governor's office talked since Thursday?
We don't know if they've talked directly, but the teams have been in discussions with each other. And the Bears actually put out a statement on Saturday. Team president Kevin Warren put out a statement saying that there has been significant progress in Illinois and that he appreciated the efforts of all the stakeholders, the state and local folks that are involved in these discussions. So it seemed like they got the message. They got the message from Illinois that the Thursday message wasn't appreciated, so they gave him some praise on Saturday, and negotiations are still ongoing as of today in Illinois.
Well, I got one more Bears question for you, because where does this leave Illinois lawmakers? Is there optimism the Bears will stay in the state?
Yeah, the folks I talk to believe that the Illinois still is the better deal. It's not as much taxpayer money. They're not going to be able to compete with Indiana on that, but they believe the Arlington Heights site is much better, and they believe that there's an opening to get something done where that would give the Bears the ability to negotiate their property taxes with local taxing bodies, which has been a big priority of theirs. Get some money for infrastructure, and then obviously Chicago lawmakers want to make sure that the city is taken care of because the Bears will be leaving Soldier Field. So there is some confidence. We haven't heard anything as of today whether there's going to be a hearing this week, but there has been some chatter that could be a possibility, that there could be at least some movement this week that could advance a Bears bill in Springfield.
Well, turning away from NFL news, let's talk about some data centers. There was a new report out in December that said energy shortfalls will begin in our part of Illinois by 2029 and then spread to the rest of the state by 2031. And that report specifically cited this lack of energy being driven by data centers and all the power that they use. So how do lawmakers want to rein this in?
Yeah, this has been a real hot topic over the past few years in Illinois, and really across the country, as these data centers, a lot of them helping fuel artificial intelligence development, just suck up a lot of energy and are really driving up rates and energy usage. So Illinois lawmakers have been looking at this for a couple of years now. Governor Pritzker, in his State of the State address last week, actually introduced a 2-year moratorium on tax credits for data centers. This tax credit was introduced and passed in 2019, but they're putting a pause on that, at least for now, amid some of these concerns. I think there is going to be a broader conversation about, should these companies provide their own energy, supply their own energy if they're going to be coming into the state. And I think you're going to see a lot of lawmakers, both I think on Democrats and Republicans, say that consumers should not be the ones that pay for these big data centers for their energy consumption.
Well, Brenden, before I let you go, let's quickly touch on the budget. Governor Pritzker talked about in his State of the State last week. It's going to be a tough financial year for Illinois. Federal funding cuts are making things more difficult. Where does this leave the state's healthcare sector?
Basically, just lucky if you have the same line item that you had last year. I mean, it is going to be really, really tough for social service providers, for healthcare providers, anyone providing services, because frankly, I mean, and the governor has said this repeatedly, that the state can't backfill all the cuts coming from the federal government. That unlike the federal government, I mean, the state does have to balance its budget, and the governor introduced a budget last week that pretty much holds the line. It's about $800–900 million more in spending, but a lot of that goes to pensions and to education, a lot of required things that you have to do. So there's not a lot of room for other things. There have been some proposals out there to maybe increase some taxes, go after some new revenue sources, go after there's a proposed tax on social media companies, and maybe go after some of the wealth tax, go after some of these wealthy I guess tech billionaires, try to get their try to recoup some of that money. But the governor did not include some of the more, I guess, larger proposals in his budget. It's very much a hold the line, status quo budget, and under that, social service providers who are going to lose federal funding under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act are probably going to be the ones that suffer the most.
It's going to be a long legislative session, lots more time to go. Brenden, thank you so much for your time.
Shelby.
And we have our political coverage for both states up on our website. You can find the latest underneath the As Seen on TV tab. James?